We're going now?
Right now!
Okay, I have a thing.
What?
I have something to say. Everyone listen very carefully.
I'm listening. Grip it and rip it! Hey, I don't know if
That's
you'll
the
hear
end
this
of my
one,
TED Talk.
but, grip it and
Oh, I
rip it as
didn't
well.
hear it.
I'm sorry. I don't know why Discord hates me specifically.
There was a tiny click and then the filter kicked in.
Fuck! Maybe it was too close that time. Well, it happened. We had the miracle of do it once.
We did.
Even if you didn't get to hear the second one. It's fine, I guess. Oh, I should unplug my controller now before it vibrates my desk into oblivion. Oh yeah, I was doing mercenaries. And I'm not gonna do mercenaries now, but I just wanted to show off that I did it. And we have all 4 lads.
You did it.
Krauser is a lot of fun.
His Krauser's still kind of busted.
Yes, absolutely. It's
That's
hard.
fair. The way
it's
it
hard
should be.
to maintain like a combo with him, but it doesn't fucking matter because like everything is going to die eventually. And then Hunk has his very good Gribbler move that I love. You know what? No, actually, I'm gonna show it off.
Hunk.
I do want to show off the Gribble.
I did want to see the Gribble in action.
I'm only doing this for you, Fruity. I don't care what anyone else thinks. You have to see Gribbler Hunk. All right, it's great.
Flowers!
Hi, flowers!
How you doing?
Did see that you followed, and I appreciate it. Welcome in, though. How's it going? Don't shoot my man!
Hi, it's Kesh
Here
and
he
also
goes!
Fruity.
Gribble!
He scribbled him! Oh,
He
he's scribbling fingers after he does it. Very, very good. Whoop.
And he wiggles. It's very funny to me. It's going good. Fruity and I stream together on the weekends, and we're doing some of the new... Where did the man go? Some of the new Resident Evil game. And it's great, and Hunk go Gribble. Look at him. Gribble.
This game's been wonderful.
It's so
great.
good. Oh, I wanted to snap his neck. No!
Everyone stop, we need to gribble.
I gotta gribble, it's important.
The MP5 looks really good, actually.
It's very nice. It reloads so slowly, but honestly, like 1 or 2 shots on a dude, and he's done so.
Yeah, it's just the PMP, but it does actual damage per shot.
Yeah! Gribble.
What was the Fallout New Vegas joke?
Just that the man looks like he's from Fallout New Vegas.
Who does? Hunk?
Yeah.
Hunk looks like Hunk. The guy from New Vegas looks like him.
Excuse me, sorry.
Hunk never changes.
His voice is very scary. It's incredibly deep, and the first time I heard it, I panicked. Because I didn't know what was happening.
It's fine, it's our friend Hunk.
Sir? Sir? I'm right here. He asked me where I am, and I'm right here. Listen. I've gone nowhere.
He does have to take forever to reload his MP5, so he can do the cool guy MP5 reload where he like punches the thing at the end.
Listen, Hunk is a cool guy. That man is making boys explode around me, and I don't like it. Let's just get rid of everyone real fast.
Does the HK slap at the end? Just not because he needs to, but because he needs to show everyone how cool he is.
I mean, he's a cool guy. Also, I don't want to deal with this man. So I'm not gonna.
Did he? Can he wiggle Hunk's friend?
Yeah, a little bit. It doesn't, because it's mercenaries, it doesn't like stop you, but it does make your screen go fuzzy. And it's just generally kind of annoying. Please?
I think it'd be cool if like it did it normally on Leon and Krauser. It did it a little bit on Lewis, and it didn't work at all on Hunk. Hunk has never been infected with the Ganado.
Yeah.
Lewis has had one in him but got it out. And, you know, Krauser's absolutely full of bugs.
He's so full of bugs. I cannot stress enough how bug-filled that boy is. Let's
just bugs.
Go.
Every bit inside Krauser is bugs. I'm sorry.
So Hunk's special is that he just never runs out of ammo, which is very nice when you're in a tight position.
Special power is gun.
Yeah. Oh.
Also, it seems to give you points every time you hit.
Yeah. So you get just increased score in general, but you get points for every time you hit a man as well. That needs to go away. And I'm back to having ammo. Nice.
So we're using GATs because almost VATs, but also slang term for guns. And we're the man whose power is guns. I was thinking too hard about it. Huh?
Just a little bit.
Okay.
It's fine. It's fine. I just want to snap a neck. No, come back. Also, there's a blind man here now. Yeah, thank you for getting that shout out for flowers. We appreciate it. Fuck. Shit ass!
Is Bunny still alive, Flowers? Gonna have the incident at the hunting lodge.
Oh, jeez, there was a hunting lodge?
There's a hunting lodge, and there was possibly a glue scaff, but possibly not a glue scaff. It was very confusing.
We were hallucinating friend?
No, he wasn't a hallucination. He was just very unclear as to who he was.
Oh. Well, he had that nice little storage house.
He did.
Okay. This is too many guys. Well, it was too many guys. It's fine now.
There were guys here once. Yeah, I can see why you don't get the MP5 in the actual game. Seems kind of a lot.
It's a bit on the strong side. Shit. It's fine. It's fine. This is fine. Can we drop down? Just hop on down. There's a brain wiggler around here. There are 2 brain wigglers around here somewhere.
Oh, jeez.
There were 2 brain wigglers around here.
You want to watch out for those red man flowers? They'll wiggle your brain.
Need them to go away. Please leave me alone.
Have you played Resident Evil 4 original? Because I've been recommending that to anyone who hasn't.
It's very good.
So much fun.
Fuck.
Never played.
Definitely should. It's very good. Even if you're not into like horror, I wouldn't necessarily.
It's not.
Yeah, I wouldn't consider it like particularly.
It kind of has elements of like pulp horror, but even then, it kind of jumps the shark on all of them.
No,
you have
absolutely.
So many grenades.
Yeah, it's fine.
Well, Four's not actually a bad one to start with because it doesn't make sense anyway on its own. And it doesn't make sense in the context of the series either.
I got stabbed in the back. That's fine. It was just to show off Hunk anyway.
Just wanted to see his Gribble move in action. Occasionally, so he screenshots.
But it's very good. Maybe at the end of the stream, I can show off. Krauser. Brain, please catch up.
Yeah.
But let's get back to the island and see all the bad things that are happening there. I think it should be. I mean, we should be seeing some regenerators today, right?
Definitely should, fair.
Okay.
I think that's like the next thing that happens is
yeah.
regenerator show. But then we have the boss fight with the scissors man, the snip scissors head man, who I always forget about, and I have been forgetting about up till now. So we have 3 boss fights and 3 levels left, which is the same way it works in the original. That's the same pace in the original keeps.
I do love that, like, you keep referring to him as Scissor Man, even though he is, like, a bugman?
Sorry, Scissor Walker.
Wait a second. Fucking love Clock Tower, and I hate Night Cry. Oh, the juxtaposition there is a lot. I don't like any of this. I don't like any of this.
I don't mind it. It would help if the Killer 7 would just think about being a little bit longer.
Either
Just
a
2
little
more
longer or a
tiles.
little shorter. One or the other, buddy. Somewhere in between, please. Okay, well, it's fine. Look at how much space we have. We got so much dang space. We got our chicken friend. All the
Oh my God,
context.
there's just chickens running around.
It's just the one, actually. It's just the one
Just
chicken,
the one
actually.
chicken, actually.
Fuck, it is just gonna. It's gonna be Hot Fuzz quotes.
We might have watched Hot Fuzz today.
The rest of the stream. It's so good. It's such a good fucking movie. Did that chicken just jump on me? Chicken, what are you doing?
Flowers, if you ain't watched Hot Fuzz, you got that's more important than Resident Evil 4.
Facts.
Do that immediately.
I wish I could take the chicken with me. This is my chicken friend. Especially now that our boyfriend
Chickens are really
is dead.
helpful.
They're so good.
To lay eggs, and then you can use those eggs to heal.
Freezer.
Just eat a healing egg.
What is this? Oh, I need key cards. Okay.
Oh, we are going to be straight in with regenerators.
Yeah, we are. So there's so much treasure around here. Okay.
Freezer has to be locked, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need a level 1 key card.
Don't forget the thermal scope when you're in there.
What is this sound? Is this treasure that I hear? Or is it just ambient noise? I think it's ambient noise. I think it's this.
Oh, yeah, it might be that.
Okay. Excuse me?
There's some people in the freezer who are telling them to leave. That was a regenerator.
Hey, regenerator? Kinda caked. Oh, that horrible... He looked like he was gonna fall over. He's got the walk of a drunk man. And that's very funny to me. Can I open any of these? I mean... He kinda ends up looking like Hamburger at one point, right? We're just gonna...
No hamburgers in the freezer, only cakes. Oh, that thing!
That's cool.
That's in the original.
Yeah. No hamburgers. All right, bro. What was he doing over here? Anything in there?
They don't go in the fence, do they?
He still makes the pug noises. The horrible can't breathe pug sounds. Okay. Attending pathologist Ernesto Munoz Reyes. Your keycard application has been approved by the head of the department. Please bring your level 1 keycard to dissection and follow the procedure on the next page. Overwrite card for level 2 clearance using the machine located in freezer.
Why did you put that in the freezer?
Right. Overwrite card for level 3 clearance using the machine located in incubation lab. Please ask each section supervisor for permission to access the machines. With all the talk of hamburgers, this just makes me want to play Happy Simple Burger Farm.
Go
I've been
again?
talking about that a lot lately.
Yeah, after Choo Choo Charles.
Yeah. Want a good mascot horror game? Happy's Humble. Okay, where is... I can hear him! Where is he?
He's gonna come out of that vent, isn't he?
He's everywhere! Also, what in the... Oh, no, I understand. I
Fine,
see.
factory.
Oh...
Okay, we have to pick one way or the other.
Yeah... Then... Wait.
Hey!
Confirm? Okay. I was trying to figure out how to tell it that yes, this is what I wanted. And it didn't work out too well. That's horrific and I love it.
Yeah.
I can hear them. Fruity.
That's fine.
This seems normal and fine. Yes, I too have teeth in my eye hole.
That's not where this is supposed to go.
Are you sure? Okay, that's the key card. I don't want to pick that up just yet. I want to read this. Regenerator. April 9th. At last, I have created a new life! I call it Regenerator. Its metabolic capacity is incredible. Unless all the parasites residing within the organism are destroyed, its tissue can regenerate indefinitely.
They've been regenerators the whole time and not actually regenerators.
I mean, it would track with the naming convention thus far.
It would.
And I hate it, but I love it.
El regenerators.
The Regenerator. Oh. No. I too have teeth in my eye holes. It's not just you, I promise. Upon examining the body with a biosensor scope, I was able to confirm that the parasite behaves like vital organs for the host, almost as though it has multiple hearts. This new creation of mine is essentially immortal. Surely even Dr. Frankenstein himself would want to shake my hand in admiration. Does he know he's not real? Does he know that he's not a real man? I shared the news of my achievement with that pretentious bastard colleague of mine. His face went white. Then he started scribbling something in his notebook. I thought he'd be impressed, but instead he actually had the nerve to warn me of the so-called dangers. He's a fool. I have everything under control. The subject went wild and escaped from its cryogenic tank. I was the real fool.
I didn't put in the debt, so I'm just gonna pretend that was like as soon as he turned around after writing the previous one.
Immediately after. Oh, jeez.
What kind of experiments are they doing here?
Well, the Regenerator kind.
I don't think I think if you explain to Leon that like, oh no, they put like bugs in them,
he won't understand.
they'll like mutate them, he wouldn't get it. He wouldn't know what you're talking about. Leon, you've been fighting them all day? Oh, he's so lumpy.
Yeah, and I hate it. No!
He was on the original 2. You have to really quickly run past him after you shoot a leg off.
Can't!
Go away! Horrible creatures.
I don't know where to go next.
So right now we can't realistically kill these. It's possible you can hit the weak points without being able to see them if you have like
if you have
a lot of ammo to spare. Yeah. And honestly, I'm not even sure if like they might just not spawn in on this version if you don't have the scope, right? Not like you can check.
Okay, but what about unrealistically? Asks Flowers. Also, hi Saber, how's it going? Okay, freezer and then incubation lab. Wasn't I just in the freezer? Wasn't I just there?
Freezer was locked.
Yeah. Okay.
Go head over there and get that level 2 keycard.
No.
Oh.
This is fine. This is fine. This is fine. This is fine. Fuck. It is very dark. It is so
The like
dark.
Dead Space version of this guy is obviously based on the Regenerator, but like they're just the OGs are just cooler. Oh shit. Oh no.
Where?
Is it the minigame?
Oh fuck! It is,
Sound?
isn't it?
It's probably that.
Also, which Dead Space, the original or the remake? Both are very good.
Either way, good. I hope you're enjoying it. Tried to gribble you, Cash.
He tried to gribble so hard. Will he
Crippling
respect
hands
me
went so far.
if I... No, I can't. Okay. Where are the
Okay.
other... Where are the other?
Where are the?
This is a bad place to be. This is a bad place to be. This is a bad place to be, sir.
Okay, so we need
Okay.
power for Freezer. If I were power for Freezer, why would I hide? Are those exclamation? Alright, those are just keycard locks.
That's power control lever.
Oh, I...
Do I have to go flip that again? Oh god.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Go flip that lever. It's gonna be fine.
Pull the lever, Leon.
Wrong lever!
Oh, I see. We're swapping which side has power.
That makes sense.
Nope. Nope.
Shot like 10 legs off this guy. Why is he getting them all?
Where is this? Where am I?
Okay, we have gone the wrong way.
Yeah, we have.
We turn around and take the first turn, and it'll be on the left.
Left. Left, left, left,
There we
left,
go.
left, 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 left. Yeah, we tried turning it on, then off again. Oh my god, I can hear him just freaking out in the background. Please, just... Okay. Hi, Britt. Not a second one!
Shit, again?
Fuck!
So it's
Leon.
possible action horror just don't get you the same way.
Okay. Will he respect me if I am here? It sounds like it.
Yeah, he's just hanging out.
Okay, hold on.
Don't want any trouble. Fortnite, unbelievable.
Has to be like no.
The first one does have to hit that one at the side because there's no other way to get to it, right?
Yeah, but then how do I, but
That one can't be. So that'd have to go all the way around? Is that possible?
like
Well, a lot of juice is on now. Come on, just down the middle one and see if it works.
there
Yeah.
we go. Okay, okay. I appreciate the fact that the regenerator will just like well, you know, I'm stuck in the corner. I cannot see. Oh shit. Huh. How do
fine.
I get out of here?
Oh shit, you do get the MP5. Sorry.
I have Hunk Gun. We have Hunk Gun. Hunk Gun has been acquired.
That's where the thing's supposed to be though? The thermal scope?
No, the thermal scope is in the furnace.
I thought the thermoscope were in the freezer and you had to turn the freezer off to get it. Which is why I always miss it.
Unless it's in here? No, that's just ammo! Fucking hell!
It just
Sorry.
flop around.
Boy, he's just going hog wild.
He's going
Okay, where am I
hog
going?
wild.
Also, hi TK. T-post for dominance.
jeez.
Listen, I will. Oh,
Think we could
jeez.
appease them with egg.
We could possibly. I mean, it's worth trying, right? I want these treasures. I want them, but
Do we have to go back and turn the thing again, or are we good to go to?
it's a good question. I think we're good. It looks like we're good.
Yeah.
Great.
Nice.
Okay, alright. Oh,
Jeez.
uh,
I get scared by Dead Space. I think it does a really good job of just building like a horrible, oppressive atmosphere. And then like things jump out at you a lot.
yeah, no, Dead Space very good at being scary. Oh, that's too many men.
Oh, it's this room.
Yeah.
This is where all the men with crossbows appear at the top and are a big problem. And then like shield men come down. That's gonna be fun.
Nope. Okay. Alright. We're good. It's fine.
Nobody wiggle. No one head wiggle. Not allowed.
This is a head wiggle free zone. If you're caught head wiggling, I'm gonna end you. Here's the thing. Will not tolerate. Absolutely not. Flowers, you're very good at Cataclysm, and I have all faith in you, but that crossbow barrel? Scary.
I was messaging Cash in secret chat with like different theories for how you could defeat the crossbow barrel. Then bloody sword furl just charged out and ruined everything.
Horrible. Awful.
I think problem why that were decked out to fight the crossbow feral, because we had to survive the initial hit from crossbow feral. So Flowers put all the armor on, and then sword feral came and was too fast because we had too much armor on. Horrible.
I feel like Cataclysm is one of those games that's like, you don't go into it expecting to win. You go into it knowing you're gonna have a bad time, and that on its own is wonderful and very fun.
Maybe they were on really low health. They might have bled out before they killed you, but like it was a tough call. Also, you might have climbed out and not fallen, and that'd have been good.
Also, Arcade is here. Hi, Arcade.
Arcade's here.
How's it going, friend? I'm gonna eat this egg. The egg is for me. The trying times are now, and I need egg.
It's an Easter egg that you're in.
Yeah, sure, I guess. Thanks. Right back at you. It is the day of chocolate and rabbits, I suppose.
Your favorite day, Rabbit Day.
I'm here for the chocolate.
Ah, jeez, Seba. Welcome back.
Ah, heck.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, no, I know what this is. I understand what this is. Case 2002F, escaped test subject. During a recent power outage, a test subject awoke from cryogenic stasis, broke out of its holding tank, and escaped. The subject was contained after 20 hours, leaving 7 dead and 19 wounded. We were unable to recover one of the bodies and a tool from inside it. The cause of this unfortunate incident is the unstable power supply. The outdated generators cannot keep up with our demanding schedule. Management must prioritize the needs of the engineers over those of the researchers to prevent something like this ever happening again. Hey, surprise, it is Easter. Today is the Easter day. I don't want to pull the power just yet. Okay, which... probably...
What's the LE5? Is that the MP5? Right.
It's the MP5.
I mean,
Hold on, what is it? What does it look
if
like
it kills them in
on-
one, if it kills the bug things in one hit, it's probably fine either way. Yeah, I was gonna say it might be just a not nice scope.
Yeah.
So like, you might not want to put it on your favorite weapon.
Listen, I love my Stingray. Okay, this is fine. I'm glad that we got the case upgrade because oh boy, we are getting a little tight in there. Okay.
Flowers, the stat you're giving yourself on Cataclysm is really tough, just generally.
Yeah.
And also, like that was a really horrible situation. You kind of had two moves, and either one could kill you.
Need a wrench to get this open.
What was pretty likely to kill you. It's possible you just died either way there. It was hard to say.
I think I could shoot them.
Friday the 13th are very silly movies.
Oh god. Oh god.
Do anything?
Okay, so it's not one shot. Rifle
Ooh.
might be required here.
Fuck!
Oh, you can see him.
If you crack
Right,
them
is that
open.
because you shot like yeah?
Shit! Oh, he tibby flab. Fuck.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, it is shit, and I don't like doing this because I love my rifle.
That's why you need it to do this task for you in this trying time.
No.
This rifle's the only one you can count on. You destroyed
just-
that guy.
I just got an achievement: 2 bugs, 1 stone.
Shot all his bugs out.
Fuck. This is horrible.
That was the thing with the crossbow feral. Like, he could probably, he could very easily one shot you.
Sir, you have too much body in the way of your bug.
I hate when they just swim along the ground like this. This is horrible.
Shit.
Sir, I haven't shut your legs off. You're not allowed to do that. You have to walk like a normal person. With your hammer, maybe not, but then you couldn't beat the sword feral because you were too quick. It were a tough one. I do think strength, having a good strength starting Cataclysm just makes everything so much simpler.
I don't need to kill every regenerator unless in his shoulder. I can get these two.
Because you'd seen where it were on the biosensor stuff.
Yeah.
The Punisher might be good for this. Like, if you can remember where the
Oh!
things are. Because it goes through, right? Oh, that guy's got a wrench in him.
It's got a wrench in him, and I need that, so I guess I do need to kill every regenerator I come across. And then it's his right hip. Shit. Did I get it? I got it. Hey!
He bomb exploded.
Bum exploded. It went boom. And it jiggled. I am a grown adult. I am mature. Don't even worry about it. Okay, give me level 3, please. Excuse me? Shit, he wiggled. Sir! Ugh. Annoying, man. Please don't... Nope. Okay, that's fine. Shit.
That's fine. They're just blowing each other up out there.
Just do
There you go.
that. Okay. Then... I wanna...
I don't know what the stats on the MP5 are right now.
I mean, we'll find out.
Nice to have another item that uses TMP ammo. Ooh.
Stop! You can't shock me multiple times! Oh, I guess the yellow herbs are useless to us now, aren't they?
Yeah, we might as well just sell them. It's fine,
Yeah.
I don't remember. It's still fun to make biggest hub.
It is fun to make biggest herb. Let me put that. And we kick.
Out of the way.
Suplex!
Suplex!
He crunch! Sir, you're dead. You dropped your bits. You are dead. Give me that key! Okay. Great. Look at us go. Not even an issue. Wasn't even worried. Yeah, the bits. We dropped the bits, and it was great. And perfect, I have more rifle ammo now.
Seva's just impervious to dead space, sorry.
This is fine. Thank you, Britt, for the hydrate and the shrimp check. I know that Flowers is new here, but for anyone else who doesn't know, anytime we get a... Sorry, stretching. Anytime we get a self-care redemption in chat, it is always highly recommended that you do it as well. So please... I dabbed. Can't see it, but I'm doing it. Please do a hydrate. Make sure that your posture is okay, and maybe get a little stretch in there. I appreciate that, because let me tell you, I slept funky last night, and all of me hurts. Alright. I dinked my oiter. Let's fucking go.
Flowers, I fully approve of going after the mansion and deciding my little guy needs lungs for better things, needs to go and live in this mansion. It's just like the game is
It's
like
evil.
feeling out how much danger you're in and how much more you can push your luck, I guess. I think you needed to do that in multiple trips. It was tough over there. Dead Space has excellent weapons. Sorry.
I love Dead Space. I need to finish my New Game Plus run. It's just it came out and then I tried to play it for a little bit and it was great and wonderful, but then I got too excited about Resident Evil. And now I'm gonna have to do New Game Plus of Resident Evil and Dead Space at the same time. Sir, you can't just noodle your arms at me.
Just nuded all over the place.
That's a noodable
said-
boy!
It's nuding time. And they just nuded everywhere. Sorry.
You're not wrong! Oh, I... Stop! That's rude! Okay. Figured we could come back since we have the biosensor now and I can unlock everything, and then we can get all the treasures. So I want all the treasures.
Now we can kill the regenerators. Probably a good time to go get all the things.
Yeah. Oh, I have to.
All the secret regenerator gems.
They have been dropping a lot of gems, which I'm like,
Yeah.
not mad about. That's not gonna work.
You get so many gems in the light part of the game. Huh?
Mm-hmm.
We got gems for days.
I love gems. Give me the treasure. Known fact, I am a treasure goblin. And now we have a shortcut, which I should have probably opened up sooner, but you know what? It's fine. Okay, so there's one in this room.
Flowers, like, pushing your luck is fine. Sometimes you have to, and sometimes it's just fun to. It's just like, you want to push it as far as you can without dying. And finding that line is like the game. Sometimes you do just gotta call it and run away.
First aid spray.
That's my opinion. Yeah.
Powder.
That's like
Right.
Weatherman fun a Cataclysm Usui, just like Sam and Max, which one? Sorry. I'm just talking to chat to that.
This is fine.
I love Sam and Max. My spirit animal is Max. The Lagomorph.
That's a rabbit. You can't hide that from
No.
me.
Do not call him a rabbit. He would hate that. He'll. No,
Rabbits
he's
are
a Lagomorph.
legomorphs. That's,
No.
that's the exact same thing.
absolutely not. Don't call him a rabbit.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. Hey, Sam? Kind of a rabbit.
Sam's a dog.
I mean, Max? Kind of a
Sam's
rabbit. Listen, I never said I was intelligent, okay? You want me to keep track of a thing? It's not fucking happening. Listen, I am in full treasure goblin mode. Nothing else matters to me right now.
All the treasure.
Treasure. Oh, wait, no. I don't need that. Right. This is fine. Smart. I'm smart when it comes to treasure. I'll find it. Gib. Need. Actually, speaking of.
Oh yeah. We can only do 4 colors. I mean, it's still going to be worth a lot in it. Those are both really good gems.
Yeah.
The squares. Wait, we could do 5 colors? We could do 5 colors. We can do that for 100,000 again, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, what am I talking about? Yeah, you can just take out yellow and replace it with the blue. This is fine.
I liked the idea of getting.
Oh, well, we could
big.
hold off if you want. Do a different
No.
combo.
No, because 100,000 is nothing to sneeze at. That's a good amount of
That's a lot of
gubbins.
potatoes.
Love those potatoes. Yeah, I'm having it my way. That is the Burger King motto, isn't it? Do I know things? That's a place for Ashley to hide.
Oh yeah, actually.
Hey, remember why we're here? It's to find Ashley?
A lot's happened.
Nice. Yeah.
We gotta remember, we're here to save the president's daughter.
We gotta save our best friend, the president's daughter. Ashley. That's already been broken.
We have to save Baby Eagle.
We gotta see.
We haven't talked to Roost in a while, so they haven't been able to tell us.
Hi, stars. That
Sass!
is my friend. How are you today? We got baby eagle, unless that's not her, in which case, oopsies. No, it's her. I don't think she's feeling too good.
Full of bugs.
Yeah. Stab her right in the neck. It's too many bugs in Factorio.
It's gonna be scary, and watch out for that.
I mean, to be fair, we also scurry.
You're gonna be okay.
Yeah, do it.
Do it, Floss.
Oh, now we're veiny. The ultimate scurrier. Leon, what are you? Why are you? What? Huh?
Why'd you
Huh?
even get that gun, Leo? We don't own that.
Bro, we
Sold
sold
that
that
ages
ages
ago.
ago. Same hat. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry you got the stink brain. Do I need to tell it that it's silly, that it's being silly, and it doesn't need to be stinky? It's okay that it is stinky, but you know, doesn't need to be. Unless gotten every single one of them except for chapter 4, and that annoys me so much. All right, Night Saber. Sleep
Bye, Saber.
well. Hope work goes well. Okay, let's go. We have 3 chapters left. We have 3 chapters left. We're at the end of the game, and I'm sad about that.
Yeah, but it's gonna be 3 cool chapters. We got 3 boss
Yeah.
fights left.
Yeah.
Sorry I'm late.
No. Thank you. You brought the medicine just in time.
Can you stand?
Where's Luis?
It's this. Don't talk about my boyfriend right now.
Till the end.
Fuck.
Come on. We don't have much time.
Fashion icon.
Let's get rid of these things.
She's got that squirt going on.
For Luis.
Looks like a stuff. It's actually shots. It's squat.
It's squirt.
Ada, come
Oh,
here.
she's missing her
There's a
little
lab where we can
sweater.
remove the parasites. I
Ada!
had a crazy hunch that you'd know
Oh, dang.
these.
I had a moment of looking at her and I was like,
facilities are
that's
housed
not
in a
Hun again.
sanctuary at the top of the mountain.
That was very confused.
You wiggled. You were so excited.
Listen, I love my weird girlfriend, even if she is being weird.
Now you owe me.
Girlfriend, why are you being weird?
Being weird and wiggly. Ooh. I bet that's worth a lot. Captive researchers,
That
no?
looks kind of Resident Evil 7 8 Village?
Yeah.
Crystal A? Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. No, that's fine. You're fine. We were imprisoned without warning! One by one, we are taken to the next room. I do not know what happens there. They just took Annabelle. I am probably next. I gotta think. Need to get my head straight. All who are infected with the plaga will be at the mercy of Lord Sadler. If he commands it, they will work themselves to death with a smile on their face. Adversely, the hosts become so simple-minded that they're basically useless for any complex task. However, we have succeeded in developing the new superior species of plaga. Sorry. It is no special variability, but the host's cognitive functions are not diminished. Seems like they plan to administer this new species to the girl. It's clearly important that she maintains her intelligence after infection. All tests were successful and plans for mass production are moving forward. The project is a complete success. But I've been imprisoned, and preparations to inject me with the superior species are underway in the next room. Annabelle is not herself anymore. The smile has been wiped completely from her face. Writing is the only thing that keeps me sane now. Not that anyone will ever read this. Joke's on you, loser! I'm reading it.
Go.
I didn't mean to call him a loser. Why are there so many fish in so many weird places?
That's...
It's the second fish in a place where a fish should not be.
That's how they celebrate Easter in fake Spain.
Oh no.
The Easter bunny turns up and gives you a
And-
fish.
Instead of an Easter egg
Eggs,
hunt, it's
fish
the
for all the
Easter
children.
Easter bass hunt. You have to find it before it starts getting stinky.
Well, that makes it easier to find. It gives it away.
Oh god, we'll never get the fish smell out. Let me through. Let me through.
You have to put them in pretty easy to find places, otherwise the fish smell will linger forever.
Ooh. Anyone has a moment to spare, would you please turn those blue medallions into a broken mess on the floor? I know that I won't bring back the old days, but I can't let this stand. It's in the cargo depot. New shooting range just dropped.
Is it? I thought we'd already seen the last one. Is the 4 shooting ranges?
I guess there are? Because I don't think we've been here before.
It's only 3 in the original, but I don't know. It's just a silly minigame, I guess. It still surprised me.
Welcome.
Let me sell this and this, and 20,000 for that gold ingot. Let's fucking go. That
Just a
can go
brick
away.
of gold. I think we might be getting shortchanged for this brick of gold.
I mean, I'm sure it's fine. Do we?
I'd look at the like numbers on the
Yeah.
MP5, but at the minute I feel like we've upgraded the TMP enough that it's not really worth swapping over.
Mm-hmm. Okay, hold on.
Thank you. Got a selection of good things
Oof.
on sale, stranger. If you want a
It has
fighting chance
penetration?
out there, you best
That's
swap
weird.
your kit.
And it can have a scope, which is also weird and not like necessary.
Yeah. I'm not particularly impressed. I really like it in Mercenaries.
Hunk's one's
but-
great. I think Hunk's one's fully upgraded though.
Yeah.
It's more powerful than the TMP, but it's not like
It
powerful.
will be, but
Yeah, I mean it will be if you upgrade it.
yeah, but I could also increase the power is the other thing.
Yeah, and then that'll be. Yeah, I don't think the MP4 is worth messing around with right now.
Yeah.
It's a weird one because it doesn't
That's good work. If
like
you do say so.
the SMG's the weapon that benefits the least from penetration power and also the least from scopes, probably.
Right? Hold on. What can we purchase?
You
A whole
get
bunch.
stuck
I'm
for your
gonna
buck.
buy
We
these
did
just
say
because
that one.
I think there's an achievement for
Right,
doing it,
Master.
and they're not that
Well,
expensive.
Happy
Okay.
cooking.
Yeah, the gamer points.
I gotta get the gamer points. I am just gonna sell the MP5
Ruby's all rubbish. It makes no difference.
because I
Yeah.
don't care.
A deal well
If you got it earlier, it might be worth messing around with, but we're right at the
Yeah.
end and we've already got like a maxed out TMP.
Yeah. In
well-tuned
fact, I
weapon
am
can make
gonna.
your aim
Literally a maxed out TMP if we do that.
doesn't get any better than
It seems like the only thing the MP5 really has over the TMP is damage, and it doesn't have the exclusive upgrade for damage,
Mhm.
so then it has less damage again.
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. It will be interesting to mess around with it in future playthroughs, but for
And we know the
now-
reload's kind of a drag as well.
Yup. Well, we have to check this out. Is the thing. Hi, Ashley. How are you doing? Still haven't seen her ears. Still kind of annoyed about that.
Horrible. Also, the MP5 don't need the
Ew.
stock, but also it is as big as the TMP with the stock, so there's not really a bonus there.
Yeah.
They have added some weird weapons. The miracle of 201.
Thanks, Ashley. Mm. That's a this. I don't
Did
get
we miss
bonus
one?
for that?
We didn't miss one. Weird. There must have been a skull hidden somewhere, I guess.
I guess. That's fine. Again, this is just testing him out, seeing what's going on. I hate this.
Oh, that
That's
travel time.
so slow.
It's a tiny bit of drop as well.
Yup. Can't say I'm a fan of that.
We're not a fan of the bolt gun.
Oof. Oh, and I can attach mines. I see. Maybe that's how I take care of the... You bastard. That takes so long! Oof.
Can't hit.
I don't know how, but this is gonna be obscene. Striker, TMP,
Yeah, that's a
Stingray,
lot.
and Blacktail?
Weird upgrades as well. Like, this is either a base Blacktail or a very slightly upgraded Blacktail.
I just hit everything that I shouldn't hit.
Ashley said, don't just shoot everything.
Well, I'm gonna.
And we shot everything.
Did it. Can't stop me. That's a TMP situation. Fuck.
Oh, I don't have the stock either.
Yep. Oof.
Shot burst, so we are shooting the clouds. It gives you a lot of reload time.
Yeah. I mean, shit.
Whoops.
They're all mapped to different spots than I usually have them on.
Yeah.
And that's a problem. No. 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 No.
Striker's surprisingly good at this.
Got that good range.
Just hits everything.
Yeah.
Within a modest distance. Well, I actually liked it when you did the... when you shot all of them in a line. At least you got that.
I mean, I got an achievement for it, so, you know. Don't patronize me. What's up, Ashley?
She's sitting on the barrel again.
Yeah.
We'd love to see.
What else is she gonna do?
You're a pro, aren't you?
She deserves a little sit down, even though she's been laying on her ass this entire time. You're just giving me a base one for 3 golds?
Always does. It never gives you a special one for 3 golds.
That was rude and horrible, and I hated it. Ugh. Ugh.
To be fair, I think it just almost always gives you a trash one, no matter what.
Yeah.
It is tragic when you put in 3 gold and it gives you a trash one.
Yeah.
Hello, stranger.
Hey, sir, your game is kind of rigged. I don't like it. I would like my money back. Also, we got our medallions up ahead. All right. Cool.
Take
good.
my refund and oh yeah, that was me banging my knee on the desk. 'Cause I moved to sit more like a goblin.
Ah, jeez. I do want shotgun shells. We haven't been able to use the striker in a minute. Excuse me? I heard that man yelling in the background. Sir?
Just honking. Down for a honk.
You No! Fuck off. Fucking birds.
Oh, you got one.
Yeah, but he wasn't moving.
Cheated by flying.
Yeah, he did. There's a treasure here? The echo, though.
Hmm.
Okay. Ashley, chill. You don't. I wasn't even running.
She's always out of breath. Poor lady.
Always.
It's got the bad lungs.
Again, our whole thing on this channel is saving the asthmatics. Is that... No, that's nothing. But there is one here.
Look at you.
Thanks. I'm pretty good at this if you don't mind me saying.
Let's find another way.
Okay, listen. Only tell me when I do a good job, okay? Oh. Boop.
Can't believe you do that.
I mean...
Shot him right in but he needs that.
I don't know that he does, is the thing. Watch out, Ashley.
It does sound like they're coming from everywhere, doesn't it?
Yeah. Okay, give me that. No, thank
you
you.
wiggling.
Not anymore, he's not.
Yeah, he took care of it. This is a no wiggling zone.
Yeah, can't have it. Can't do it. It's not allowed. Said there was a treasure around here. I would like it. I would like the treasure. Oh no, the treasure's over here. Oh. Oh? Hello?
Probably clear the lads out and then go looking for the treasure. I know we want the treasure right
Yeah,
now, but...
But treasure, Fruity? Listen.
Yeah, treasure's been hard to find. Did he... How did...
He's got
Did his
metal
axe
armor.
block? Alright, okay.
I was also a little confused, and then I realized...
That
he's
is
just...
parrying you while laying on the ground
Can you
facing the wrong way.
imagine? Too powerful. Oh. Okay. Any more dudes? Hello? Gentlemen? Oops. There.
You got it.
Listen. I know what I'm doing, Ashley. How do we get up here?
There
Well,
are
we
like
have to-
boxes and stuff up there.
Yeah, so either I missed a ladder or we loop back at some... No, that's ladder.
Was there a
where we were.
dumpster over there? Can we make Ashley go in it?
Where?
Sorry, back a little bit in the corridor. Go in the dumpster, Ashley.
Give me some space.
Hey.
We found your ancestral home, Ashley. Oh, never mind.
On me.
Okay.
Okay, it's all right.
Nope.
Stick close. Spread out.
No problem.
Ashley,
On me.
Got it.
move a few of the bags out, Ashley, and just hop on in.
Ashley, you gotta get in there.
Oh, and it's on the
Ashley,
other
fine.
side.
Yeah.
It could be above. There's like a little overhang there. There's a medallion over there anywhere.
Yeah. We go
Where's
back
this
up?
treasure hiding?
It's like at the corner.
It's possible we could shoot the barrel on there and it like opens. Nah, sorry. Heck. 'Cause,
'Cause, 'cause, 'cause, 'cause, 'cause, 'cause, 'cause, 'cause, 'cause, 'cause, 'cause, 'cause, 'cause, 'cause, 'cause, 'cause, 'cause, 'cause, 'cause, 'cause, 'cause, 'cause, 'cause, 'cause, 'cause, 'cause, 'cause, 'cause, 'cause, 'cause, 'cause, 'cause, 'cause, 'cause, 'cause, 'cause, 'cause, 'cause, 'cause, 'cause, 'cause, 'cause, 'cause, 'cause, 'cause, 'cause, 'cause, 'cause, 'cause, 'cause, 'cause, 'cause, 'cause, 'cause, 'cause, 'cause, 'cause, 'cause, 'cause, 'cause, 'cause, 'cause, 'cause, 'cause, 'cause, 'cause, 'cause, 'cause, 'cause, 'cause, 'cause, 'cause, 'cause, 'c Oh,
Oh.
sneaky.
It's just way up there, huh?
Ooh.
It's a pretty good find, actually.
Yeah, it is. We like those.
Hey,
And
we never
then-
enough of the good squares.
The medallion over here somewhere? There it is. Okay, well, look.
Actually, I know you're
just came-
full of bugs, but you have to stop being out of breath.
She will never. Not even once. Oh, I'm one
Well,
short!
yeah.
No!
That's fine. We could find one just off a guy somewhere.
Yeah, but what if we don't? We have 3 left. Have I really done, like, every single request so far? Dang.
They're not
Dang.
hard, and they're not like long diversions.
Yeah.
You can. It's always just like, even if it's
You're-
like in a previous area, you just wander there for 5 minutes and wander back. It's fine.
Yeah. I just hadn't realized that we were as on top of it as we are.
Nicely
But I mean,
done.
we do have the promise of treasure with it, so of course we did it. Girl.
I do wish there were more like mid-range things in the spinels though to tempt you away from the exclusive upgrade tickets.
Yeah. Oh.
More
Oh.
10, 15 cost cool things.
Or can you not see me?
Oh, I saw you now. He's pointing.
Hmm.
That rocket launcher, man.
Here you go.
No. Yes?
I saw someone
Yeah.
like crouch down. Yeah.
You're serious.
Alright, well, he's not rocket launcher man anymore.
He's a Don Pedro.
It's Don
That's fine.
Pedro again. How does he keep sneaking up on us?
It's not like he can be in all the places at once. Sorry, my brain just shut off for a second there.
Ashley.
Ashley!
Play.
I mean, I did iframe my way through that. I only have myself to blame for that.
Actually, use your iframes. What are you doing?
Oh! Ow! Get out of here. Get out of here. Okay. Fox snake? No.
We haven't seen Bug Snake in a while, have we?
It's been a bit.
Yeah.
What's in here?
I hope he's doing okay. We do keep killing him and then selling him to the merchant.
I'm sure he's
I
fine.
hope he hasn't got discouraged. We do love to see him.
Makes our date that much better when we see boxing. Ooh, magnum ammo. Can I?
Ashley.
Hey,
You wanna? Okay, but while you're doing that, I do have enough to make some shotgun shells, which I would love to do. And we got some bonus ammo from that. You'll love
Nice.
to see it.
I think the striker can hold 12 right now, so we're almost full.
Yeah. Oh.
Striker has very high capacity.
This actually. Excuse you. You're not the one that I wanted. You're not the one that I want. So finicky.
Oh, we could take the scope off for now and just put it on if there's regenerators. Just
Oh.
mentioning because the scope's like kind of dodgy.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, and the rifle scope's way better.
Good call.
I just saw the little dot on the scope.
I heard it.
Nice.
Ashley!
Ashley, why?
I swear
why-
to God. I'm not allowed to shoot her. Like. Oh!
Yeah, you managed.
no, I'm okay.
Hey, Ashley, you cool now that I'm shot? Hi, Salvia.
Nice,
didn't-
Selby.
see me just.
We just shot the president's daughter. Please don't tell him.
I think I managed to like get her as she was walking past. It's very good.
Okay.
Please don't let go of it for no reason, Ashley.
Does she just live there
That's fine.
now? Oh.
Damn it.
Sir. Wha-bam! Ashley!
Where are you going?
It's got a one-way trip to Suplex City.
Yeah, the enemies in this really sell those suplexes. They'd be good professional wrestlers.
You need to stop,
Actually, you
like,
have to
rat
stop doing that.
crawling in front of me. Girl,
You're
I will
masquerading, Ashley.
I will shoot you, and not because I want to this time. My god.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Oh no. Please don't tell my best friend, the president, that I shot his daughter. I think he would be very upset with me about it. Oh!
He's telling we did it by accident. It wasn't an accident. It was actually quite hard to do.
You gotta back
Yeah,
up,
that's okay.
Ashley. Who's gribbling over here?
Did hear
What?
something.
Might be upstairs.
Yeah.
Because there's nowhere for him to come here. Okay. Hello? Suplex! Ashley? Fuck.
Son of a bitch.
At least it's just Don Pedro now.
It's our best friend, the twisty son of a bitch.
Twisty son of a bitch.
We love him.
Do love him.
Um...
Looking glorious in in the new engine.
Yeah. So goopy. Rat.
Do we swim in the? Do we dive in the goop? Like, oh, we do.
I don't want to wade through
We
the
flop
poop
around in the
water.
goop,
Smells pretty bad.
like in Resident Evil 6.
Good flop tech.
Killed me though.
Okay, well, you get to hang out in poop water with me now, Ashley. Aren't you excited?
It still might kill you, Ashley. We get to find out
Yeah.
what diseases we got from this when we get home.
Hope you're up to date on your vaccinations. It's not going to resolve everything, but it should protect you from a lot of it. Hopefully.
We go at the same time, yeah?
What are you...
Got it.
No. Okay, at least it gave you a lot of wiggle room.
Okay.
Hey,
Silly
Ashley?
door puzzle again that kept messing up because I was very scared.
That was understandable.
I didn't really fully understand like what he was trying to say, and I was panicking.
I mean, it was kind of a tense situation. Having regenerators come after you while... Sorry. I can hear one. I can hear him. Fucking pug breathing out there. Horrible, awful creature.
Do you remember we'll have to put the scope back on if we're gonna defeat Regenerator?
Yeah.
I'll just guess where the lumps are, but probably we're gonna want to put the thing back on. This is easier than in the original as well. In the original, they can be on the limbs, and also, oh, that's new. That's an Iron Maiden.
Oh!
Son of a bitch.
Fuck! I see it in his head. I see it in his head. It's in his head. Fuck!
Ah. Oh yeah, this happens when you go in the sewers in the original. I remember.
Fuck!
You fight 2 Iron Maidens.
Stars, please!
It's a good song. What do you mean? It all look well.
Whoa! Whoa! Oh, he shot out his
Yeah.
spikes when he blew up. Okay.
That was rude, but it didn't do a lot of damage.
You're not hurt, are you?
No.
I mean... Okay, yeah, no, we're fine, actually.
Psychologically, we'll never recover.
Honestly, though, horrible, terrible, miserable creatures. Okay. Treasure? Goodies?
That were cool. The Iron Maiden bursting through from the regenerator.
Dead left.
Yeah!
They're always kind of like related creatures.
Okay.
Oh,
We go at the
jeez.
same time.
Yeah, okay. It's okay.
Leon, I pushed that button, like, ages ago.
This time for sure.
I hit button.
Okay.
There's, like, a solid, like, 2 seconds between when I hit it and when he decides to pull it. Horrible. Ashley, is there someplace you can hide?
What do you mean? It's nice here.
I don't know about that. Wait, no. Ashley,
Get this
you
for
do
me.
this.
Leave it to me. I'm actually pretty good at this stuff.
Turning wheels? Okay.
Wheel expert.
Weird flex, but alright.
Ask me anything about wheel. I'm really good at it.
You're really good. Oh my god. Oh, wait. Sorry, Ashley. Can you hold that for a minute longer? Oh, wait, no, that's on the other side. Okay, never mind. Ashley, continue to hold it. Thank you. Can I not? Oh, what's this? An ornate necklace, you say? Got a lot of bits in it.
Slots.
Could do. We'll wait until we get some more stuff, but
Yeah.
could
We're
get
looking to
lot
do a
from that.
double.
Yeah. Preferably, but if not, that's fine. Okay. Oh, bats, you scared me. Why are you... Now you're reacting to how stinky it is here?
Leon, that's what you've been walking through it. You
You are the
that's
stinky one.
It's your That's a bad fish.
It's a bad fish.
Leon, please don't eat that fish. Leon, I know we've done questionable things in the past, but do not eat that fish.
Eating that fish will be the last thing you do. Oh.
I'm gonna go pick she up.
What
It said 1 out of 4?
Shit. One down.
I'm trying so hard.
Ashley.
Shit.
What? Who did that?
Fuck! Sir, it's very hard to shoot through these bars. Ashley, I
Damn.
can't. I can't. Ah! Sorry. He just rolled out at me.
He just slid in. Oh, we can always eat that fish if we need to heal. This is fine.
My biggest jump scare yet. What the fuck? Horrible. Oh, wait.
Slides in like
What
a
am I doing?
horrible penguin, the worst penguin. The penguin you never want to see.
Fuck. And
Oh
then
yeah.
back on Ashley as well. Oh, God.
It's a little stressful, but it's fine. Are you kidding?
God damn it. This is horrible.
Sir, please. They don't have that much health, though. He's gonna get you with the shrapnel.
No, he's not, because I'm gonna hide behind a thing. Are we good?
Ducked out of the way at the last second.
That
So cool.
was very cool. I don't ever want to do that again. Hey, Ashley, are you gonna... Sorry, rat. I have to know.
Oh, it's rats.
It's rats. Rat?
It's the sewers, merchant. Why do we... That's why rats go.
This is their home, sir. Heard it. On the other side? Oh, look he! He was just hanging out!
Hello, guy.
I am a little upset that the merchant wants all these rats killed. They're not hurting anybody. Listen, this is their home. Okay, Ashley, you can stop now. Where did Rat go?
It's over there somewhere. Why they look so cute if you have to shoot them?
Right? Tragic. Like this?
Hey!
Now that I understand these puzzles, easy peasy, not an issue.
Nice.
Just the first couple of times that I was like, oh? What? Excuse you! Excuse you! Excuse you!
Horrible spiders.
Terrible gribblers. Alright.
I see you took care of a request.
Yeah, I'm not happy about it. Just indiscriminately wanting me to kill every single rat. But guess what?
What can I do you?
We can get an exclusive.
So, which weapon will you
Nice.
be given a shine?
Buy
Give us a
that.
shout.
Buy that.
I'll buy
You can have one of
think-
those.
I think we could get a double on the crown thing. Oh, the new thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The weird necklace?
Yeah, that's the one.
Thank you.
Well, let's see.
The neck crown.
The neck crown.
It's the normal neck crown.
You know, that thing.
Does
that
he want to
everyone-
buy a horrible stank fish, by the way?
I mean, he's going to, regardless of whether he wants to or not, because it is a bad fish that I do not want.
Hey merchant, I found a fish that smells way worse than usual.
You want this? Where is my bad fish?
Worst fish.
Alright, we could do...
Yeah, it'd be 2 blue and 2 red.
It's not bad.
It's not bad. I thought we had 2 yellows though, and that would have been better.
Yeah, but 55,000 for a stupid 4-thing neck crown?
Yeah, that's fair.
Welcome.
And especially since we're not necessarily, like, we don't need every bit of money.
Yeah, we're about there now.
Ammo capacity, useless. Rate of fire, useless. Critical hit rate, also useless.
Killer 7 is a very silly exclusive. Even the original don't even get an exclusive.
Choose a weapon, stranger, and I'll make you see. Why not try
He just has
your
really
luck
nice
at a
stats.
new gun, stranger?
Yeah.
Might save your life.
We're thinking of bringing something in, just
Maybe.
get it exclusive. Broken Butterfly's exclusive is the damage goes hog wild, right?
I think so.
We could swap revolver.
That is true.
I mean, we do want it for the damage. It's just nice to also have all the other stats being good.
Yeah. How much would I get for selling? Only 38?
Ruby's all rubbish. It makes no difference. The price, well, that's our choice to make.
First off,
Knife needs there you are. As you wish.
I want to do that.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't know. We don't really need to bring anything new in.
my
I mean, the
wares.
riot gun
Yeah.
is fun and we like it, but I can also just hold on to the ticket.
Do the... I'll just throw the capacity upgrade on the striker and it'll be... Just every shotgun shell we ever get, we can put inside of it, so it doesn't take up inventory space.
That would be pretty
This
good.
kind of work is about
Alright,
finesse,
let's do it.
stranger. You've got
Let's do
our
it.
finesse, mate.
Nice, it is
Will
free.
it come back and
Well, it's extremely not free, but you don't
No.
also have to pay money for it.
I don't have to spend my potatoes on it. And that's exciting.
need time?
Okay. Reload.
It'd be nice if you'd fill it up, though. You know, just the ones.
Sir, it's the exclusive. Come on. Come on. I worked hard for that. Can I save? It's been a minute. Ooh. Oh. Yeah. That's right. That's the correct spot.
Yeah. Let's have over the hardcore game.
Yeah, please, God. I would cry. Can I just leave her up there?
I think she has to come down and operate the bulldozer.
Yeah, I'd hoped though.
The wrecking ball.
I had hoped though. Also, treasure? Off that way. Okay.
This area is kind of another hub now.
Mm-hmm. It's fine. Excuse you. Leon, what the fuck?
It's
That is
fine, but there's like notably like less stuff here because it wasn't originally like meant to be a hub. This was just straight levels
Yeah.
that you powered on through.
Yeah. Excuse you, where are you going?
Leon! Look,
Ma'am? I was
The lift?
collecting things.
if we could do something about this wall.
I mean, did you not see the wrecking ball?
You need Chris Redfield in here to punch the
He'll
wall
punch
down.
it, yeah. Oh, that'd be very good. Hey,
Very
Ashley,
good.
You wanna get in here?
A wrecking ball.
She says, "Move on over."
Got this.
Yeah, I think she's the brains of this operation, to be honest.
It's not saying much.
Her own rescue operation.
Oh, it's a full cutscene. Okay.
Oh,
Have you never heard of
this
Black
is
Death?
extremely not a cutscene in the original.
Get back.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, there we go.
Oh, I'm scared.
It's fine. Just gotta hold him off until the wall goes.
Hey, Ashley, do you want to take the guys out with the wrecking ball? Because I think that would be very funny. Fuck! It's always just...
She almost certainly can do if the in the way.
Actually, you know what? That would be very funny. I think she just took that man out.
Oh yeah, he's dead now. She just very gently pushes them over with it.
She doesn't want to hurt anybody.
Is she yelling take this at the men or the wall?
Both.
Okay, wall. My old nemesis.
Oh, sir. Sirs? Ah! Ah!
Come on, wall. Why
Yeah,
are you
she's-
not breaking for us?
She's yelling at the wall. Oh my god.
We're bargaining with the wall.
Uh...
Going through all the stages of grief with the wall.
I'm gonna do more of those. It's probably not the wisest of moves.
It's never a bad decision. Maybe sometimes it's not the perfect choice, but is there a situation where the rifle's bad?
No. Ow!
What would that even look like? That's crazy.
Ashley!
Oh. No wiggling. Oh, he's dead. He's doing the slow crawl.
Idiot. Okay. Big boy, done. Not an issue.
I do like the bull man. It's very good. I do miss the strange Mad Max enemies this area introduced before.
Yeah. I mean, we. Oh my god. Ashley!
These people don't learn.
Do I just have to stand over here with you?
Oh, it's getting bigger. Almost there.
Oh, come on, wall. Been at this all dang day.
No, no.
If you all want to beat that bad, I'll have to go.
Where'd that come from, Leon?
There's a rocket launcher man somewhere here.
Oh, that's what that laser sight means.
Yelp.
Good shot.
Whoa! No, Leon, I needed you to stab the man in the... What is Leon's neck doing? Fuck.
I do love to see the double speed stabs, though, to be honest.
Yeah! They do make me very happy.
Ah, there he is. He's stuffed up on a thingy over there.
Yo. Okay, listen. Y'all.
Strike is so good. I was worried the Rocket Man might target the bulldozer, but he's
No, he's just mad at me.
just he only has eyes for Leon.
I mean, who can blame him, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay, just
We-
shoot it.
Have we got preparations to do the tier list? Do we? I think we'll probably finish next stream rather than this one. But
as much as I would love to just like get it done today, yeah, we haven't done our tier list preparation, and I think it's just a touch too long.
yeah, we've got a little bit to go.
Hey, Ashley, are you?
Where is Ashley?
Hey, did you see me? That was awesome.
That was pretty neat.
I think you might have found your calling.
Please. Okay, let me just reload everything real quick. Can make more shotgun ammo. Is the thing.
Keeps getting the bonus too.
Yeah. Love to see it. Like we said, anytime we get shells, we just put them right on in.
Striker has the slowest reload of the shotguns, just because it still puts shells in one at a time and it can have so many more in, but like, when are you gonna need to reload?
Have to go back to the incubation lab.
It's gotta be a Iron Maiden, right?
Yeah. Who is grunting and groaning? Hello?
Someone's mad?
Where? Oh, I know where we are.
Oh yeah!
I like it when it loops back. So is he hooting and hollering under there? It's fine. This is fine because we have to come back this way anyway for lab, which is here. So just lefts. I just have to keep taking left. Or taking... Going left! Listen.
Follow the left-hand wall, it's fine.
Yeah! I don't know what's happening.
Same as always, left-hand wall.
Left-hand wall. Okay, Ashley, I need you to stay back just a little bit.
Ideally, Ashley would not
Not be
come in.
here.
I don't know
Yeah.
why we can't tell it to stop. Ah. Like, it did, like, some people get frustrated because they tell Ashley to send in stupid places and then, like, enemies spawn and she gets grabbed. The DSP does that a lot.
Yeah, but DSP is an idiot.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, if it happens, it's like, you know, you might do it, but you're like, okay, I can see why that was wrong. Probably should have been keeping more of an eye on her. Shouldn't have told her to stay that far away. I
Yeah.
don't know.
That's too many. That's too many. Ah! I don't like it when he runs at me.
Oh, he's a snake now.
Ow. Fuck.
Whoop.
Okay, come back in here. Do you want to follow me in here? Do you want to follow me in here?
Shooting stuff.
Fuck.
Swimming
Ouch.
again.
My butt.
You need that.
Okay, Ashley, you need to not
Ashley,
be over
please.
there.
Hey!
Wait.
Oh, Ashley, you broken
Okay.
an October. Oh, she's fine.
All that for an Alexandrite?
And 8 spinels.
I mean, I'll take the spinels. That's pretty alright. Oh, and there was a locker here that I just
Oh,
like,
we could have told her to. Oh, that's
completely
fine.
ran past. Whoa! I just made that more difficult for myself for no reason. But hey, did anyone die? No, because we're just that good.
ESP let the men kidnap Ashley a lot of times, and a lot of them were he's just stood there missing and complaining that the gun doesn't do any damage, and the reason the gun doesn't do any damage is because he's missing every shot.
Kinda
And it's
have
just
to hit
walk
your
up and
target.
pick her up, and then just
My
walk off with
God.
bullets pinging off the walls around them. Like that one scene in Pulp Fiction where he comes out of the bathroom and he shoots her like a perfect circle around Samuel L. Jackson.
Oh, jeez.
Prove yourself reliable. Well then, what can I do you for?
Oh, heck.
Oh, my back is killing me. Years haven't been kind to us, I suppose.
I think at this point, if there's nothing we really want, it is fair to just do gunpowder.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I'm trying to think for like.
I mean, you could do tokens instead.
Yeah, but then I'll be sad that I don't get anything cool.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm also thinking like New Game Plus at this point, where it's like, can I buy some of this stuff ahead of time? But I can. There's so much that I'm not gonna need to purchase that I've used spinels on, that like getting all this other stuff is gonna be easy. So we'll just go ahead and
You can't go wrong with that.
do that, I suppose. Because then I can make some handgun ammo.
They actually had enough things to make a magnum. That'll never happen again.
Yeah, but I also have 7. I have
Oh, you
15
don't
in
actually make
total.
it. That'd be insane.
Yeah, yeah. Why would I?
You get like double the number of shotgun shells for less resources. So
Right?
you don't actually make the magnum. It's just nice when it lights up.
The possibility of it is there, and that's neat.
We do stand to see it in action soon.
It'll definitely. I'll pull it out for the final boss fight. That's the only reason I haven't used it thus far. I might also use it on Krauser, depending on what's going on there.
I'd say this next guy is a fair use for it. The snip scissor walker.
Scissor Walker. I suppose. Alright.
Ideally, we would want to get Krauser with it, but like, I don't know what that form that fight is gonna take.
Yeah.
All together, don't we?
I guess so.
Right? Maybe someday I'll become an agent like you. What do
No.
you think? We could protect the U.S. from any and all threats.
Ashley.
Well,
You
either
sweet
way,
summer child.
first we have to make it out of here.
You're no fun.
You dumb, naive baby. Okay, we hop through. Looking for things. Ooh. Need both. I need.
We actually
sniper
do need
rifle.
rifle right now.
Yeah.
It's down to one bullet.
Yeah. We'll do some more of that
I mean,
too.
We'd like TMP. We like the TMP here, but the Stingray is the best weapon in the game by a mile.
It's very good. Speaking of, let me get that back on. Also, how am I on health? I probably should have checked that before coming through here. Ugh.
Ah, you're fine. Oh wait, you're not fine.
No.
You can take one more hit before you need to heal, though.
Yeah. Transporting the amber. I must stress.
Oh,
the
is
use
this
of
driving the
extreme
truck?
caution.
Sorry.
I think so, yeah. Work with the utmost respect and obedience. It is imperative that you do not disturb the holy body's slumber. Hi, Emmy.
Okay, Shami's here.
Hey, Fruity. Emmy's here. Hey, our
This must
friend,
be what Lewis
Emmy.
was talking about.
She's here.
Here, Emmy might be here.
How's it going, pal? How are you doing? Look at these rocks. Whoa, look at that rock! Is it a good game? It's a real good game. Look at this yellow herb that I can sell. Thank you for shouting out at me. Look at you doing mod duties and making commentary with me.
I remember sometimes I should have shouted at Stars as well, shouldn't I?
Yeah, you should. Everybody
love
follow
Stars here.
everybody. All of my
I
friends
did
are
shout
cool.
out Flowers, but it was very early and there weren't
Yeah.
as many people there, so Flowers gets another.
Shout her out again. Perfect. You'll love to see it. All the
You love
friends
Sonic Adventure too? Sorry.
Go follow Emmy. They've been playing it a bit.
Emmy's doing all the important butthole science.
The butthole has been found. Okay. Dearest Lord Sadler, I am overjoyed to report the wonderful news. Production of the superior species of Las Plagas is officially underway. If all goes accordingly, rest assured that we will reach our ultimate goal. The Plaga is a truly magnificent organism. It has the capacity to live in any vertebrate, be it human, dog, or even crow. That's horrible. There's no other parasite like it on Earth. The superior species is particularly impressive, as it can assimilate with a host without causing any damage to the brain. No one can oppose the strength of your dominance, my lord. On the contrary, who would resist once they experience the utter joy that accompanies the absence of free will? I am living proof. How ignorant I once was. In a few days, I will have finished administrating the Plaga to all the high-ranking researchers, and then they too shall know. And when your plan is complete, the whole world shall know. Annabelle Garcia Escudero, head researcher. Oh. Great.
Why don't they bring back the Chow Gun?
Because they're cowards.
People
That's
would throw
why.
money at them to do that. They're trying to hand Sega their money and Sega are just fumbling it. Just make a whole game about that.
Again, it's because they're cowards. You're fine.
I'm just gonna apologize. This is a me apologizing stream.
I'll just keep telling you, it's fine.
This is our holy body.
That lady has a bag over her head. That man has a tentacle stick.
Such profound blessing for all. Los Plaga. Welcome,
Oh.
my children.
Oh.
Hey, Sadler, your head's gone funny.
The speaker for our Lord. Tell someone who gives a shit.
You tell him, Leon.
Lambs.
You shot him right in the eye hole.
Now, abandon your body.
But I like my body.
Obey the voice of our Lord.
It's okay, Ashley. We don't even have that gun.
It's not real. Hey!
Do not resist.
You're doing great, Ashley.
Pray forgive these wicked sinners. My faithful disciples shall deliver to you your penance.
Oh,
My
heck.
child, you need not be afraid. Submit your body and release yourself from fear.
New settler kind of cool.
Yeah, he is.
Well, we've lost Ashley again.
Yeah.
Also, chatbot, you're a little slow on the content warnings there, bud.
I think we don't get back till after Krauser, right?
I think so.
And then she drives the truck. And then we get all the bugs out of everybody, and then we fight the last guy.
Yeah. Okay, where are we?
Trying to remember what order all the things happening in Resident Evil 4 is so hard.
It's a bit of a feat. I stab. Also, I hear a lad.
Oh, he's just on the
There.
lockers.
Leon, you can hit that.
Yeah, I made
They
him
heard
mad when
me.
you did that.
Yeah. Yeah, they heard that. Per your request, redevelopment of the island is well underway. Weapons and other defensive equipment have been set up to the guard against any outside intruders. By the time we are finished, the island will be a giant fortress. These defenses won't hold up long term, but they should last until we carry out our plan. And once accomplished, we'll be that much closer to our ultimate goal of world domination. None will be able to resist our power. All right, Jack Krauser. Okay, Krauser. Man's first name is Jack, and I don't know why that's funny to me, but it is.
Should open every letter with, "It's been a long time, comrade." Writing to inform you that.
They're looking for me.
Oh,
Enjoy
jeez.
your lurk. I'm sorry you're bringing to be tired. Are there two guys over there? Or is
That's
there just the
fine. Tired
one?
brain luck, so they can be quite pleasant.
Mm-hmm. I just want to see how many dudes I can kill before they notice me.
Looking kind of squally down there.
Just a little. There are two men there. No, they know I'm here.
Yeah,
Here's the thing. Their AI knows exactly where I'm lurking.
They're in technically not in fight mode, but as soon as you enter the area, it's gonna be fight mode.
Yo. Idiot.
Oh, jeez. That guy's very on fire.
Yeah. I'm sure he's fine. Just taking a nap. Give me this. Gold bar.
You have a lot of just lumps of gold here.
Yeah. Don't need to go back up that way.
Leon needs to hold on to some of these lumps of gold. He'll never have to rescue any president's daughters ever again. He can just retire.
Have we considered he does it because he enjoys it, not because it pays well? I assume, like any American job, he's getting like paid nothing.
For
So
being a secret agent who's best friends with the president, and he has a second job at like a fast food restaurant.
Absolutely, he's a burger flipper. He's one of us, you know.
Gotta do something to pay the bills.
Yeah. Oh, jeez. We've got Operation Javier. A few people have heard the name, even within the highest ranks of the U.S. government. A little wonder, too, the operation was not made public. It was conducted in secret and then buried. The reason being, It was too inhumane. It all started back in 2002 when a small unit of U.S. Special Forces was sent to infiltrate an area of South America. Their mission was to eradicate the drug cartels. The whole operation took several years to prepare for, and only the most elite soldiers were selected to participate. I don't know if the mission was a failure or not, but I do know the fate of those elite soldiers once it was over. Apparently, the entire unit was wiped out except for the commanding officer, Major Someone. And not by the cartels, but by the U.S. I assume that this is
Gotta be
Krauser, 'cause
Krauser.
yeah. It shouldn't have been difficult to extract a single-stranded unit. All it would have taken was a single helicopter, but for some reason, the military didn't act. Rumors say that the decision was the outcome of a power struggle among the top brass. Others say it was a directive from the former president himself. But we may never know the truth since it was all covered up. But I'm certain of one thing. The US government let those people die. Brave, young people who dedicated their lives to protect their country. Yeah, that's what the US does. And what
Yeah, they were protecting their country in South America.
Yeah, exactly. I don't understand why that's so hard for other
By
people to
shooting poor
understand.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do.
Wanna... Oh,
sorry.
no, go for it. No, go for it.
I do. I. In this universe, in this canon, is Escobar a bioweapon?
Yes.
Is that what we're getting at here?
Yes.
Escobar is a tyrant.
I mean,
Resident Evil
yes,
tyrant.
and yes. Dang. I'd believe it, though. I want to expose this crime, not because it's my responsibility as a reporter, but because it's my duty as a fellow American. Note 1. This document concerns Operation Javier and was written by an American journalist named something. It's Ada. You can redact that all you want. I know who it is. Note 2. The article will never be published. Blank has already been taken care of. Dog tags. Tragic backstory of Jack Krauser himself. What the fuck? Krauser's obsessed. My god.
Krauser, we don't know you. Get out of here.
Who are you?
You've done well to make it this far,
Oh
rookie.
my god.
I've prepared a battlefield.
Oh, he's very silly.
Just for
Obsessed!
watered by the blood of generations, hundreds.
Oh, it's silly, man.
I cannot take him seriously.
To put an end
No.
Oh my god.
2 years ago.
Okay. Well, you have fun with that. Ashley Graham's abduction, phase 1. Depart from campus with the target.
Phase
Escort the
1, abduct Ashley Graham.
Right?
Phase 2.
Escort the target as usual until the start of phase 2. There should be 3 others inside the vehicle, including Baker. Abel's unit will follow behind you in a separate vehicle. Continue to drive your normal route. Phase 2. Stop the vehicle under the pretense of engine trouble. Transfer the target to Abel's vehicle. Phase 3. Abel's unit will change course. Subdue and restrain the target. Place the target in a large container. Phase 4. Baker's unit will create a diversion. Henry's unit will infiltrate the investigations database and disable their network. Phase 5. Meet at Point K9 and transfer the cargo onto the ship. This is my 5-point plan for abducting Ashley Graham. Give me all that. Do love to see it. It is being very nice and giving me... Oh.
So we skip the snip scissor
Whoa.
man. We're not doing him. Oh, it's one of those crows.
If I look away and then look back, is he... No, he's still
Oh,
dead.
I know, it's just
He's just a
it's
magic
this
bird.
new internet trend. It's called planking. All the cool kids are doing it.
So yeah, we're skipping Scissor Man and go...
Which is a shame because it's a fun set piece, but like, it doesn't
Yeah.
do anything.
Hello, stranger.
Scared the shit out of me. I mean, we skipped a lot of the mines, right? Cause like we also didn't get the like weird skull outcropping where
Yeah.
Dr. Salvador is.
What you buying?
That would.
Yeah.
We missed a lot of bits with bugs, but we didn't get the like final one where there's just infinite of them coming in. But
Yeah.
they're just not. They're just not as. It's not the same one though. So much less dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
I'll pay a
They're
bit
just
more
little
for
idiots.
tea.
You shoot them like once and they explode.
I love them. They're stupid.
For Gunner, now would be the time.
Dazzled,
Yeah.
are you? Our craftsmanship demands no less. Will that be all? Come back.
That rate of fire on the Killer 7 is actually crazy. Oh, I know it's slightly less than 1 per second, I understand.
Yeah. The bigger the number, the better. Whereas the original was,
Yeah. It was the refire time instead of the...
yeah. Sorry, I got concerned.
That's fine. We're in a Krauser castle. Krauser's spooky castle.
Not Krauser Castle. And I
Krauser's
assume
jump scare mansion.
I assume the castle is spelled with a K.
Oh, jeez. People would do that. When you come in the door, he like talks to you like you know each other, but you've never seen him before in your life, and
Never
it's
met
really
this man.
uncomfortable.
For you, worried about the girl, is that it?
It's happened. He's doing it.
That's just like you.
Been a long time,
Always had
comrade.
poor judgment. But if you think I'm gonna let you out of here alive, you're even more naive than I thought.
Krauser, you're very silly.
So silly. He's so silly in the original, and you couldn't have made him less silly. I'm glad they didn't really try.
No, they've just kept him.
hell for? Revenge on the government?
Thank you for the hydrate reminder.
Want that?
Revenge. You think I'm doing all
Everyone
this
think you're Oiter.
for revenge? Isn't that what
Think.
this is all about? In that jungle, I had a revelation. The most important thing in this world is pure,
His music.
unadulterated power. Those Illuminados have given me that.
You know you were always an asshole. But at least you had some kind of code. Some honor.
This is all very silly.
Enough reminiscing. Move out and draw fire, soldier.
Bye. Oh.
Better run, rookie.
Not like I have a choice.
Oh, he's got his bow. He actually
Yeah, he
uses his
does.
bow in the actual game in this.
What's wrong? Show no mercy.
I may have just shot that man in the dick.
That's fine. He's bad. He's a really bad man.
I'll make the first move.
Come here.
Sir, I think we found a weakness in your knife strategy. Okay, maybe not.
We take it back. Oh my god, this is a disaster. Hold on a second. Krauser, you gotta wait a minute. The game has royally fucked my inventory. Is the thing.
Horrible.
Okay, there we go. We are gonna
Now we
do...
can play.
Yeah. We're gonna do some more shotgun shells. And I guess that's it. I guess that's all we're gonna do.
So goddamn weak.
Please, sir.
Game probably does want you to try and knife him.
I don't remember
Fuck!
move like that.
Wow!
Oh yeah, that's fine. That just means that phase is over.
Better hustle. Who knows what's become of the girl?
This is how it goes in the original. I don't know.
Yeah.
He always like drops a flashbang as he swaps phase.
Just was so bright and so loud.
Yeah, actually, the flashbang in Resi 4 like isn't that bad. I think it's like really toned down. So if you have if you suffer from epilepsy, it's more likely to not say anything off. I don't think they really like fully understood how to do that in the day, but it's nice to see an attempt.
Let's go.
You remember the fight in the jungle? We barely made it out alive.
Go with your gut, don't think.
Can't disarm those.
That was the first thing you taught me.
Tragic.
Special bomb. Krauser brand. Kraus bombs.
Not the Kraus bomb. Oh! Krauser, please! He didn't like that we were making fun of his bombs.
Krauser, you're a dork, I'm sorry. Krauser, you're very silly. You're terminally silly. There's a Petra up there.
Thank you.
I've seen one of those in a
No!
minute. Oh. It was, it was
Jackass!
a distraction so he could shoot a rocket at you.
Horrible rude
Rude.
man. Ah!
Okay.
Is it fully broke? Seems to be fully
Looks
broke.
like it. Don't take many shots.
Nope. Which is great.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck off.
Fucking gross.
Oh. Okay.
Just a little Kraus bomb puzzle.
I can hear him sitting up there being like, he'll never solve this.
I'm no stranger to covert tactics, remember?
How can I forget? Shit.
I'm so sneaky, Leon! Try and find where you are.
That's a red herb. That is not Krauser.
I
Thought that
thought
was
it was
his
just his hat.
stupid beret, yeah. Where? I do see the bear trap. Just so everyone knows. I do see that. Krauser? Can you stop?
Still alive, huh? You got lucky.
No, your aim is just real shit, my dude.
If anyone doesn't know, Krauser just fucking turns up in the original RE4, and he's just a guy who like wears a red beret and says "comrades," so that's how you know he's a villain. He's a bloody wrong un. He just acts like he's been there the whole time, and it was very confusing for a lot of people who had played the previous Resident Evils.
Yeah.
He's also a bad shot with a rocket launcher.
Stay alive. I'd be dead if I kept listening to people like you.
Where is he? Okay,
Krauser is it's so silly. Every single
No!
aspect around him is so silly.
I don't know. Guess I'll ask when I see him.
Oh, it's a stupid arrows. That's what's happening here.
That makes sense.
You've really gone all out for me. You shouldn't have.
Anything to make the pretty boy.
He did kill our boyfriend, which is, that's not
Yeah,
okay.
it's unforgivable. Yeah, no, I just realized as I was running and being like, oh, this is- what are you doing? Why did you quick and turn?
We'll just run Serpentine. We'll never hit us.
You pass with flying colors.
Sir. Those were
Oh, too bad.
eggs.
Eggs barely winged you.
This is it.
Oh dang.
Whoopsies!
Also, the fight with Krauser in the original is so fun. You just gotta embrace how silly it is, and it's just so much fun.
Ouch.
He's so fast. What a speedy boy! Oh, you parried his knife with your knife.
I was hitting control there, and it said no.
Did a really good job. It looked cool.
Fuck. But I hit! I did it! This is a problem.
Yeah, a little bit.
Krauser, please!
From you, I take that as a compliment. You and I have chosen different paths. All that's left now is to settle this duel.
It's fine. We were fine.
I was thinking the same thing, Krauser.
Where are you going? Fuck.
Yeah, that's... Doesn't seem to care if you press the button or not when he trips you up. His hat's still on though. Oh,
Not
he took it off
anymore!
himself! He don't fall off when he's low on health.
Again and again.
Oh, he's... It's Morbin time!
Oh no. Let me just grow a sword dead quick.
Necessary. That's the difference between you and me, rookie.
What a cool wrestle match we're watching right now.
From the
I'm not
top rope.
I'm not entirely sure that growing a sword is legal, but hey, you know, if
I
the
get
ref
behind
is cool
someone
with
did it in the ring.
right?
Your training.
Oh fuck. Game, can I have some health?
I'm wondering if it like dropped us out of the arena so we could get more stuff for the next phase.
Ah!
Ooh, maybe not.
So that's your true power? Oh. I'd ask for a refund.
Lol.
You can hear him scampering.
Yeah, but I'm too sneaky. I'm too fast.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Krauser, where are you? Come here.
Not sure if we're technically like in the boss fight yet, or if we're still working up to it.
Little bit of A, little bit of E.
It would be nice if you wouldn't marry us, Stompers, if we weren't actually in the boss fight yet.
Right? Well,
Damn! What do I do with 2 red?
this is incredibly unfortunate. I'll go ahead and do some handgun. I mean, we're okay on health for now, so I'm not too worried.
I would never.
Oh shit.
Yeah, but I yell all the time. That's just my default.
I like the Kingdom Hearts Madness cash yells.
Oh god.
That's right.
Sir.
Nah. Time for the teacher to be
I love when you all the time.
Bring it, rookie.
Sir.
Oh, he has 2 swords now.
Yeah.
2 sword arms. It's dual wielding Soul Calibur and Soul Edge.
Whoa!
Sorry.
Okay, we just want to see what it's like.
Oh, it's time.
Whoa!
Oh, it's so loud.
Oh. Oh, he very red. Whoa! Sir! What do I do? What do I do? There was nothing I could do.
Might have been on too low health to get out of it before death.
I was trying to get items.
Yeah.
Okay, well.
Don't worry, you can parry. Have you tried blocking?
Fucking
It's
scream.
mutated arm attacks.
Fuck, that was too slow. Come here.
Oh, that's a big whiff.
I hit the button to parry, game! You
Plan,
showed
let's
me!
not parry his his special arm attacks. Oh, you did it!
Okay. Krauser, what am I supposed to do there?
What do you do?
It
Do we
doesn't give
just
me
not have one hit point? Is that what we do?
That seems
Oh, okay.
wrong.
Move out of the way. Yeah, that's definitely what we haven't been doing.
But I did the
I
first
understand.
time.
Yeah? When he instantly killed you and it looked like a cutscene.
And I was waiting for like the button for me to, you know, fuck. Shooting him right in the knee pads.
It's his weak point. His Achilles knees. We really need to green herb camp.
Yeah, okay.
Hey!
Fuck.
Oh dear.
Well, it's fine. I'm glad it gave me the chance to react to that. Fuck off, Krauser!
You still got the magnum to just destroy him.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay.
Doing good on
No.
stuff now. I think the SMG's doing a pretty good job against him too, actually. The little TMP
Yeah. I was just
does do a lot of damage now.
I was mathing for a hot second, being like, is
Alright,
this what
sorry.
is this what I want? No, it's fine. I appreciate the fuck off.
Oh, you just have to be right at the edge, but not fall off the edge. That is so loud. I love that.
Fuck. Yeah, no, it's very good.
Oh my god, he didn't even get to finish the conversation.
Sorry I interrupted it, but also
What you have to do.
I can't do it. I've made my hands stupid.
Leon, I cannot carry anything anymore. Do I get his knife now? Is this just mine?
That would be cool, actually.
Don't do it. It's what he wants.
That's right.
Leon, you're too nice. Oh, JK, maybe not, actually.
Well. Leon.
Who are you again?
We've never met before today, Kramer.
That
you did, Major.
was pretty neat, though. I liked that. Ooh!
Is this a knife upgrade, like right at the end of the game? That is a knife upgrade. The durability's ass, and it's not upgraded, but the damage is higher than yours already, I think.
That'll be fun for New Game Plus!
Yeah!
It takes up so much space, though.
It's a big old knife.
Holy shit.
It's fine, we have a big bag for New Game Plus.
Yeah, but holy shit. Listen. There aren't many games that I get excited about for in regards to like doing a New Game Plus, but like this and Dead Space have not disappointed at all. It's nice to be genuinely excited about new AAA games. As opposed to being like, yeah, that's fine, I guess.
Even though the remakes.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Yeah.
They're different enough from the originals that like it is kind of a new experience, even if you know like the general beats and stuff like that.
Yeah. And it is like returning to like some old game design that kind of got lost. Like, let's not make everything just an open world with nothing in it.
Right?
And towers.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah.
That is, we will probably stop here though, because we got the last 2 chapters, which we'll finish next week. But I did say I was going to show off Krauser and Mercenaries.
Oof.
So, which map? I've only done Krauser in the village.
Island?
Let's see, Island.
Because I haven't seen Island. Is
wanna see
Super Dr.
Island.
Salvador here?
Not that I've seen. So Mercenaries is like an additional game mode that you get.
It's like an arcade mode. You kill enemies,
Yeah.
that gives you more time to kill enemies and also some points. You want to get big combos?
He
I think I
gives
hear
you
chickens.
kicks. Yeah, they're around. Whoa, where are you going?
Come over
Krauser.
here now. Krauser has made his decision. It is said that he can't suplex.
Yeah.
I thought he taught Leon everything he knows.
But Leon's learned some new tricks. I don't even care. Oh, okay. Hey, Krauser? Hey, bud, do you want to shoot your gun? Maybe?
He doesn't.
Oh, okay.
He's happy not shooting his gun.
Oh, okay. That's cool. There's a spot up here that I like to camp. Because I am cheap.
That's fair.
Ooh, give me that. That's a chicken. It ran past. It said, fuck
I'll
off.
let you play as all the weird characters too, and in the original you could play as Ada, which is great, we love that, and you can play as Wesker, which is horrible, we hate him. And they took those out. But you can still play as Hunk, and you can gribble people with his gribbling hands.
You do get to gribble, and we love that. Oh, excuse you. Okay, you know what?
The man exploded.
Okay, you know what? Let's just do this. So here's his big mode. I can lunge forward.
All the
And I
mana
can-
gone, Kish.
Yeah, they sort of vanish. If you do the big
Aw.
attack, it uses all of the mayhem mode up more quickly.
It also permanently removes your sleeves.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, your arms did go boom.
They
is
did get
the
big.
thing. Here's the bit. Arms went sploosh.
I do kind of wish you could still play as Wesker. He does his like dumb bullshit Matrix powers. When he punches someone, they fly back like across the whole map.
So stupid.
So dumb.
I could do without Wesker, but I am sad about Ada.
I hope that in this new canon, Wesker's not like a superhero anymore. Honestly, I wouldn't mind if he was just the guy who got killed by Tyrant in the Spencer Mansion.
Yeah. Fuck.
Like that's fine. Most characters don't like have more story after they die.
Ooh. Come here, big guy. I cannot move when I'm aiming my bow.
It's a big bow. Oh, it really gets him, though.
Yeah.
Oh, we got
So
mayhem
this-
mode again.
So this is why I like this corner.
Good comment.
I can still get guys that spawn up over here, but for the most part, they all just funnel this way, and then I can get all my time bonuses the way that I like them. And it's great. Come here. Sir?
That is a good kick. Oh! He does his spin kick from original Resident Evil 4. He just doesn't do the like initial like lunging kick before he does the spin kick.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a 2-kick combo in RE4.
Oh, jeez. Come on. Come on. Excuse you? What? No rocket launchers up here.
Oh, they decided no.
Yeah. That's fine.
His TMP's kind of trash. Everything else about him is cracked, but the TMP's a bit rubbish. Could have some more upgrades on it, I think, if he was gonna be truly overpowered.
That's not what I wanted to do, but hey, that's fine.
While we're here,
We'll just handle that situation, I guess. Ouch. It
Also
does.
he's-
Oh,
sorry.
no, it's fine. I was gonna say it does level it out pretty well with like the TMP being shit, just because
Yeah.
you don't get very many. But I have so many arrows right now and so many grenades. When did this happen? Wait a second. Well, you know what? This is fine. You know why?
The bow is crazy.
Ow. Okay. Fuck. Just takes forever to load and...
He just ran in going blah 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 blah.
Yeah. He really said, "Brrrah!" Okay, go, be gone. You know what? I don't got time for y'all.
Who would just suck Krauser on the jaw. He also has almost full health. In RE4, he's the only mercenaries character who has full health. And it's like not even close. Everyone else has like 2/3 of the normal health bar.
Oh,
of the
jeez.
max health bar. Ada has the least health because she girl.
She girl. She doesn't need it. She's too good.
Yeah.
Stop! Whoopsies! Okay, well, you know what?
Ah! Oh, they can hit you while you're doing this.
Yeah.
I
Krauser, I
was
need
just
you
about to get destroyed. I mean, they did get destroyed, but at least he got a hit. Also, the dash is called Stinger, which is the same like dash move when Dante from Devil May Cry does it.
LOL! Krauser, are you a Dante? I have too many
RE4
things
was
to do.
originally gonna be Devil May Cry was originally gonna be RE4 that way around.
You did mention that, and that's
Yeah.
hilarious to me.
It's ridiculous.
Can I suplex? Oh, I didn't. Okay.
You did the kick while we were kneeling from right behind him once, so I don't think you can.
That's tragic, really. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
We just kick a man in the back of the head.
They don't go crunch when you kick them.
Yeah.
That were a cool little move he did. Ah.
Okay, listen. I hated the fact that his body just blocked all of that. It's fine, I guess. That is.
Krauser, you need to talk to the merchant about grading this TMP. It's ridiculous. Oh, those guys do have instant kills on Resi 4, by the way. DSP got by one and started yelling that the game was unfair.
LOL!
So you just watch this guy walk right up to him slowly and then do a fairly slow instant kill attack on him. And he just stood there and let it happen.
What an idiot. It's very funny to me.
I should stop. Just stop watching it, but like, it's hard when you know it's there. Much like a train wreckage.
Alright, we only got like 10 seconds left, so we might as well just
Time to go
wail
big
on
mode.
him. Oh, never mind. We got all of our time back.
Oh. Oh, okay. You can stay in the form for a little bit over the time if you time your dash right.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool.
It's good.
So you kind of want to do like a combo and then finish with the dash, I guess? Or 2 combos and then finish with the dash. If you've been fully optimal.
You do love to see the efficiency. Alright, Krauser, if we can stop getting, like, more time, that would be cool.
Krauser, it's cool, we can finish now, but the helicopter can get here.
Hum.
That's fine. Get out of the way!
Don't just laugh at me! It's fine. So that's Krauser and Mercenaries. He's very fun.
We could show Luis and Mercenaries for the people who haven't seen him.
That is true. Y'all want to see my boyfriend?
Because I've seen him, but no one else has.
It's true.
Leon's in there too, but he does Leon things. He behaves
seen
like Leon.
That Leon guy, it's just like Leon. I didn't mean to send this to the leaderboard, is the thing.
What if it's the highest score ever seen?
Well, then that's between me and me. We haven't done the village level yet for on-stream stuff, so let's get Luis out here.
Yeah.
My sweet boy with his stupid red 9. With his idiot gun and his shitty mayhem mode that I love because it's very silly.
Look at those kicks, though.
He's caked up. Hey, yo. Excuse me. Excuse me. No, you used the pipe. Where's your pipe?
Oh, you're kidding. I think he has had a when you're playing as Lewis, because the cakes are on screen a lot of the time, and it's very distracting.
It is incredibly distracting. Also, Emmy, please don't call me out like this. Listen, I love my idiot boy. There he goes!
Hey!
I didn't say you were wrong. But also, I am being personally attacked right now. Alright, listen.
Oh god, he has the biosensor scope.
Yup.
Lewis, why? Lewis, there's no regenerators here.
Excuse you? Okay, you know what?
Oh, you should have done that.
Please, please. I'm hitting the button for you to put the dynamite down.
Does the old dynamite have to go away before I can put down new dynamite?
I think so. Well, we'll just put that one here, and everyone
Does your
put it.
items too?
is my-
Bloody cow.
This is my sweet boy, and I love him so much. Sir, you're wiggling too much. Don't hurt him, please.
Good shot.
I was hitting the button and he wasn't doing it.
Bullman has entered the arena.
That's fine. Probably.
Bullman says, "Ooh."
Okay, I need to not be here right now, I think is the thing.
Cool if the biosensor scope showed you which guys were going to be Pedro's.
That would be neat. Okay,
It'd
hold
still
on.
be a
Let's
bad
just...
scope.
We'll just drop that right there. And we'll just drop this one right here. And oh, and we'll just put that one right there too.
Yeah.
Chicken, move, move, chicken.
Does he jog faster when he's in that mode?
I think
Oh,
so.
nice move. Oh, you got a 50,000 point egg bonus?
That's pretty nice. I'm here for it. Sir, you are very charred. And now he's dead. It's fine.
It's fine.
Oops.
Luis does definitely have the worst weapons of everyone who you can play as. His mayhem mod is very silly, and I love that.
Oh.
He does only have 2/3 of a health bar.
Yeah. It's a little bit of an issue, but you know, what can you do?
I think he goes like twice as fast when he's putting dynamite down. Which is
He's
why all
got
the
a
enemies have so
muscle.
much trouble hitting him. It's so funny.
Listen, he knows how dangerous dynamite is.
It's true.
Okay, you know what? Come here, everybody. Actually, I should probably wait until Dr. Salvador shows up, because I think he's on his way. Ow!
That was rude. He was taking a lot of dynamite to the face. Oh, Dr. Salvador inbound.
Alright, that's not what I meant to do right then and there, but hey.
We get the 50,000 bonus points because we got the gold egg drop.
Ah! Okay.
You got him.
Yeah. Eee. Get him.
He's survives taking 106 of dynamite to the face, but one knife stab does him in. It's not even fair.
Horrible and tragic, and I hate it, and I don't want to talk about it. Hey, do you want to not be there anymore? Come here. That was the wrong button!
Keeps happening. He just decides he's throwing dynamite today, I guess.
Yeah. He says, hey, you know what would be really fun? Dynamite.
You do get points for hitting people while in dynamite mode.
Yeah. I'll just do that. Game, I know I'm doing it bad. Here's
Almost
the thing.
bingo. Red 9 does just blow people's fucking arms off.
Yeah, it's kind of powerful, but
It's a little
horrible
beefy.
with aim. It's fine. I got an S rank, so you know. That is S rank on the village stage for everybody.
Nice.
Krauser still holds the crown though. Luis
Yeah,
is struggling. But you know, that's okay.
It's possible Kraus is the most powerful character.
Just possibly, potentially. That is gonna be streamed though. We've almost streamed for 3 hours again. This keeps happening.
Well,
Might be.
time.
It's a good game.
Next time we should be finishing this and also doing the tier list.
Yeah! We should work on that this week. Just getting it together, that's all. But yeah, we'll finish the game this next weekend. We'll do our Resident Evil 4 Beefcake tier list. So don't miss that. It's gonna be great. And yeah, I don't know. I like this game. It's a good game. I'm having fun with it.
It's a really good game.
Yeah.
It's been wild.
I've not been like particularly upset about any of the changes that they've made. I don't know. It's been all fun and wonderful and delightful and great. Yeah. Also, got a handful of people on. Lots of really big channels, but Flowers is doing some more Factorio, and I know we just raided her yesterday, but we have more people this time.
Oh.
And everyone should go check her out. So I think we'll go say hi to Flowers. If
I mean, we could do. I'm always happy to go say hi to Flowers.
All right, let's do that then. Before I do that though, let me get those raid messages up there. Yeah, plan is I will stream tomorrow. Hopefully, if I'm not feeling too crummy. Don't feel particularly great today, but I'm pretty sure it's just allergies, and I felt better after eating. So, tentatively planning on streaming tomorrow. Yeah, it's just very snotty right now is the thing, and I think that was what upset my stomach. But yeah, and the weather changing, the barometric pressure just switching around all the time does not make for happy joints.
Oh.
Yeah, it's fine. But yeah, we'll plan on streaming tomorrow. Probably be some Psychonauts.
Well, I won't be there. You'll plan on streaming tomorrow.
Yeah, me, just me. But yeah.
Kish only, no fruit is allowed.
None
Bye,
fruity. Goodbye, friends. See you next time.
Yeah.
Rated.